Meet the man who created the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Captain America, and more. And find out why no one knows his name. Jack Kirby pours his quintessential 20th century life into his comics, only to make the fateful mistake that sends him into obscurity, while his characters become known to every person on Earth. Get inside the history of the man behind so many of your favorite characters, and discover that Jack was just as colorful and as complicated as any of his superheroes. King Kirby asks the question, what happens when an artist doesn't own his own legacy? Can he ever get it back? Come, see Sage Theater's presentation of King Kirby, April 15th through to April 23rd at Calgary's Pump House Theater. For tickets and showtimes, go to sagetheater.com.
And welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bishop, and today we are talking about a story of revenge, of violence, and incest. We're talking Oldboy, a North Korean, no, South Korean. Yeah. The North Koreans don't have anything other than propaganda. A South Korean movie that was remade in 2013 by Spike Lee. And I don't know how many Korean movies you guys have seen. I've seen a handful, not a ton, probably in that 4 or 5 range. Yeah. And every time it's a sheer joy because they're all batshit crazy.
They are really, truly, and they all look so cool.
They are so cool. Like, The Host is probably one of my favorite monster movies. And there's always this nice mix of violence and humor within their stuff. And it's just almost cartoony in the way they do it. It's so extreme in both ends.
It's like anime, but real.
It does. Mm-hmm. And the best example of that I can cite was something I found totally by accident. I just kind of liked the cover of it. I walked into one of these Asian DVD stores, and you never know, not sure how legitimate a lot of these copies are. And I picked up something called, it was just popped out of my head here, Volcano High School or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Dragon Ball.
With real people.
With real people. I mean, I don't know my Dragon Ball very well. I barely know what that is, but it was crazy. It was batshit crazy.
Nice.
That sounds like fun, actually.
It was super fun, and maybe we'll remake that on this show.
Cool.
That would be fun.
Maybe we will. I'll have to dig out that DVD because it was super fun. And it's actually with the effects and storytelling, like you'd think a limited budget in South Korea would be, and it was, Oldboy.
It's not
all
as
of
limited
these
as
are
you
pretty
think.
cool. Yeah, well, all these computer effects now
Gangnam
are getting
Style.
so much more affordable, right?
Yeah, people can do it in their own homes with the right software.
When I think about what I saw in Volcano High School, I'm like, now that I've got some film knowledge behind me, I'm like, wow, actually, as cool as that looked, I bet you could do all that shit in After Effects. So, it's all getting much easier to do now.
No, that's why independent film is becoming increasingly prevalent, right? Because people can do it. Right? Without having a budget of $200 million.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys had seen these movies before. This was my first watch on both of them. It was always kind of sitting on my list as as something to watch, and I just never got around to it until we decided to do it for this podcast. So,
I had seen them previously. I remember watching Oldboy because it was on Netflix, and I'm like, this looks really cool and interesting, so I'm going to watch it. And then, like, not 2 days after I watched it, they announced the Spike Lee remake. I'm like, not sure how I feel about that. And then, of course, when it became available, I'm like, well, I have to watch it. So I did, and mixed feelings.
Yeah, well, interesting enough, when I was checking out from a former podcast, I was, I find these lists of remakes and things, and usually the shittier ones.
Yeah.
And Oldboy kept popping up on these lists.
For sure.
And I don't know if I feel that way about this, the Spike Lee movie, especially knowing that he didn't get final cut in this movie, and almost 40 minutes of his movie. Like, his cut was supposed to be 140 minutes, and was cut down to, I think, 104. So that's significant.
Yeah.
That is pretty significant, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't dislike the remake. I think if I'd have seen it as a standalone film, I think I would have enjoyed it more. But, of course, anytime you're comparing something to the original, an original that was as good as Oldboy was, it's tough, right?
It's very tough. Well, and there's that Korean sensibility really is hard to translate some of that. Like, some of the wackiness of Oldboy, the original Oldboy, isn't going to translate to American audiences very well.
There's a style to it, too. Like, I don't know. I found the original Oldboy, like, visually better. I just enjoy it.
I have to agree with that. Visually,
I'd also agree.
Far more engaging.
I think Spike Lee had his stuff looked more stylized and polished as far as the shots, but I think that rougher look of the original Oldboy works in its favor.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like kind of grittier. Like, it's grittier at like its very core. Like, the fight scene in it is grittier. Like, it's messier and grittier and just unpleasant. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Well, yeah, and he takes damage. He's a little, he just keeps trooping on, but, he takes hits and everything else, and there's something about, especially that hallway fight.
And the way it's shot.
Yeah.
Call that visual style. I'm coining this term right now, Hong Kong neon. Even though it's a Korean movie, it's got that sort of Hong Kong darkness and light to it, right?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that's my new phrase, Hong Kong neon.
Cool. Okay, Sam's been with us for like 3 podcasts now, and I'm going to have to go back and listen again. Anybody who's playing the home show, keep a list of the terms he's coining, because I know he's done this at least twice now.
Well, this is part of the bingo game. We'll have a portion of the bingo game will be Sam's coined terms. Other parts will be stuff Jeff would do that we find terrible.
Yes. Which is also why we're covering Oldboy, because he never wanted to watch that movie again.
No.
Yeah, I'll probably do it again. Right. Yeah. And it's probably not even my term. I probably heard it somewhere, and I'm just stealing it.
Theft.
Okay.
Well, then we're going to put you in a room for 15 years.
Then we're going to... That's right. We're going to slash stealing and coining slash stealing terms. Yeah. And yes, you must. You
must pay.
Yeah, we must lock you in a room with a little door at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, peace and quiet.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's interesting. They talk about like the isolation of it more, I think, in the original one, which makes more sense. Like, they talk about how they combated him going completely insane at certain points. Like, they drug him. They gave him an anti-schizophrenic drug because they have a discussion about it. They're like, you want him put that away that long? Like, the guy who does it, who's like a horrific human being, is like, but that's a long time. So he gives him an alternative, like, this is what we can do to make him not go completely insane.
Yeah, I mean, anybody in that kind of isolation, I mean, geez, I get antsy in my own place.
Well, isolation is considered torture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was torturous, and I think that was conveyed better in the original.
Yeah.
For sure. It's him going, like, a little bit off the rails in the original one. Because, like, I mean, they do a thing where they introduce, like, alcoholism for some reason.
Well, he's a bit off the rails before they even nab him.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he's a full-blown alcoholic.
Well,
right? In the original.
In both.
In both.
Not as much.
I didn't
like
find
the original. I found him just to be a terrible person, which I feel they kind of added alcoholism to give an explanation for why he's a shit. In the new one, because it's easier to feel sympathy for somebody who has the disease of alcoholism than for somebody who's just really crap to be around. Like, he's not as sympathetic in the original one.
I just felt Josh Brolin's character was an ass.
Oh, God, yeah.
He was an ass all the way through the movie. I'm sorry, but he did not go through that cycle like the character in the original movie, right? Because the character in the original movie, he found something good in himself, right?
Yeah.
Which we'll discuss later, but kind of goes by the wayside at a few points.
Well, the original one, it's sort of, he gives, I don't know how far, if we want to go at the end and give it up, he begs and, like, just debases himself at the very end, because, like, he's fucking broken. The Josh Brolin one, he's
That
not
doesn't
as
happen.
much.
By
No,
a long
and
shot, no.
it's sort of, I think we're supposed to be believing that, oh, he did something, like, altruistic by what he did to himself at the end, and that's not it.
They almost want to give him a slightly more, it's not a heroic ending, but a more uplifting here, where he goes from here kind of thing. Let's run the trailer for the original Oldboy, and then we can really dive into this.
Daisu, long time no see. Imprisoned for 15 years. Losing your wife and child. Seeking revenge is the greatest cure for someone who got hurt. What happens after you've revenged yourself? What will you do? Do you seek revenge, or do you find the truth?
Seeking revenge has become a part of me. Who are you?
Come on, it's a game. I will kill every girl that you love until the day that you die. Farewell, Dyson.
Laugh, and the world laughs with you. Weep, and you weep alone.
Okay, that was the Oldboy trailer. I found an English one for you guys, and not a fan-made piece of shit
Oh, yeah.
that we did with La Femme Nikita.
But we tried.
No disrespect to whoever edited it, but that together, but it was very obvious.
Yeah, I mean, you need the trailer that has the right audio, otherwise it's not going to make any sense.
Yeah, well, and I find with a lot of foreign movies, when we cover them, if they get to North America, they just tend to be complete instrumentals with a lot of text describing what the movie's about, so almost to trick you into not realizing it's a foreign film.
Yeah.
But it makes for shitty audio.
Yeah, well, I think they're making the trailer for people who are watching movies, not listening to an audio podcast. So I think that's... It's not really their fault.
But listen anyhow, please.
Yes,
right.
True.
I have decided, though, when we do foreign films, and if I can't find a decent English one, I'm just going to run the foreign one and fuck it.
Yeah. Or just tell you, like, go on YouTube and then you can read the text there.
That's right. You can all turn on your Google Translate.
Yeah. If you can get this podcast, you have the internet.
That's right. You have the technology at your fingertips. Learn how to use it.
Awesome.
And hey, maybe we can get some Korean listeners out of this. I don't think we have any Korean listeners yet. Got a pretty good audience in China, though.
Nice.
Way to go, China. Okay, so let's dive into this. Both are a bit shitheels at the beginning of their respective movies. And, okay, well, let's get into Chan-wook Park directed this thing. And, for some reason I didn't write who wrote it. I'm a moron. And Min-sik Choi, Min-sik Choi plays Odaisu, and he's the lead of this film. And at the beginning of the film, he's grabbed a present for his daughter, and he can't go to her party because he's just stooped in alcoholism at this point.
He's at the police station.
Yeah, he's been arrested for drunken disorderly.
Which was very entertaining.
It was. It was a good montage.
The montage. Like, he starts off, this one guy's accusing him of flirting with his girlfriend, and the police tell him to shut up. And then there's one point, like, he's yelling, he's like, let me go. And then there's that part where he's just quiet because he's surrounded by these 3 goons. And he's just not saying shit.
There's a lot of humor in there. Hey, he kept trying to go to the corner and pee in the garbage can.
Yeah. I really have to piss. It's pretty good. But you're also looking at it from the perspective of perhaps the one cop that's freaking the poor person who has to sit there and watch this dickhead just be like this all night.
Yeah. And it does. I mean, that whole bit sets the tone for the lunacy of it all.
Yeah.
How extreme this movie can get in both directions of humor and violence and everything else.
And where you start from belligerence. Like, you think bad things aren't going to happen. You're just going to be a dick for a while.
Yeah. So, yeah, he had the wings and the...
Yeah, the little angel wings. He bought his daughter little angel wings to wear for her. She's her 5th birthday, I think.
Yeah, there are a lot of like neat little visual cues in both movies, really.
Yeah, there really are, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like this one is steeped in one. Like the whole theme with like the violet umbrella, like the pattern on... It starts off with a pattern on an umbrella, goes to patterns on packages, envelopes.
Yeah, Spike Lee with the umbrella, it felt more like just a nod to the original without having a lot of purpose.
For sure.
It really did. That leads into some things I want to talk about. I want to mention about the remake after the incarceration.
Yeah. Well, it starts off, the very beginning, I think, is like, it kind of comes off where the original one, it starts with him on the roof and meeting up with this guy who's going to jump.
Yeah, well, that's after his incarceration, though.
That's after his
But
incarceration.
it starts
He wants to tell this guy his story.
Yeah, it's a cold open, and this guy's, he doesn't grab him by his tie.
Grabs him by his tie. This
Like,
guy's
he's
holding a
going
little
over.
dog, and he's going to go kill himself. But before he can, like, fall
That
off
happened
backwards...
so quick, I wasn't sure what he was holding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought it was a dog, and then I scratched it out. Maybe it was just a stuffed toy, and then later on, I'm like, oh, nope, back to dog. I'm like, at one point, I thought I was holding the wings. Like, it was just this white ball of fluff.
Yeah. But yeah, like, holds his tie and keeps him from jumping because he's like, I want you to listen to my story. And the guy's confused. You're like, what the hell? I just want to kill myself.
Yeah, which is, it's intimidating and interesting at the same time. And just that open, I'm like, yes, this is going to be a ride.
And from that point, it flashes to him at the police station.
Yeah.
And we have the beginning of it. And after that whole thing, like, he has a buddy come to pick him up. So finally he gets bailed out. So, like, his buddy comes to pick him up there and then take him home. And the abduction in this one, I really appreciated. It's so subtle and
Really
so
subtle,
mysterious.
Yeah, because he was at the phone booth, right?
At the phone booth.
Calling his
daughter late at night, drunkenly.
And he takes the phone because...
His friend takes the phone because he's like, oh, I'll talk to you.
Talking gibberish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then while his buddy's in the booth, he's just gone.
Yeah, and just the gift on the
ground.
On the ground. That's all that's left.
And that brings up one of the first differences in the movie is the fact that the original character is still married to his wife and lives with his child. He's just gone off on a bender.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas in the remake, they're separate. They're divorced, and Josh Brolin's character is just a shitheel father who's never around.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and he's a shit-heeled job. Like, his job is to be an ass.
Yes.
To get people for advertising and to woo them into working with their company.
See, and
unfortunately, he keeps sabotaging his own stuff because he's a womanizer and everything else. And
Very drunk.
And very drunk, and you realize why he's in the position he's in because he's just a shitty human being who's on this self-destructing path.
But see, in this thing, this is what I find like the greatest difference is like you have the opening montage at the police station. To me, that was all you needed. Like, I don't need to know where Odaisu works.
No.
I don't care. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference in
You're
the
never gonna
explanation at
see
the
them
end.
do it again.
It doesn't, and it doesn't matter in terms of the reasoning behind it or how this all came into play. It makes no difference whatsoever.
No, I found the restaurant scene where Josh Brolin's character flirts with his client's wife.
His client's wife, yeah.
I mean, it made him all the more abhorrent to me,
Yeah.
but it wasn't necessary.
No, yeah. I mean, I think the Korean one does that better. It's like, well, okay, he went on a bender and you don't feel too terrible, like that he's a horrible person. They give you nods that, he's made a lot of mistakes over the years, but at least you don't hate him once he's kidnapped. At that point, if you don't have a little
feel
empathy,
a little bit bad for him.
Yeah.
if you don't have any empathy for your lead, you're gonna have trouble caring about what happens to him next.
Yeah, and what they do, I think they attempted to do it in Oldboy, which maybe there is like a cut of it from Spike Lee's where they do this, but all it is a throwaway line later on when they're visiting the headmistress of the school he used to go to, and she's like, I just saw him as a lost soul. That's it. That's the only time we kind of we're supposed to believe that there's something like deeper inside him, and that's it.
Well, I mean, he makes the list of why he makes
a tiny list, but Oh Dai-soo makes notebooks worth.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's a massive list
of people that he's wrong.
He spends 15 years naming names. It's like, are you this person? Are you this person? Are you this person?
Yeah, and I think that was a better way of showing how unengaged he was in his own life.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't care about anybody or anything.
Yeah.
Right? Not even himself in reality.
But what's strange is like in the Korean one, like he fills those notebooks, but it's weird, like he's aware of all the bad things he's done. Like it's a strange sort of penitence that he's doing. Mm-hmm. Is to go back into his mind and think of all the wrong things he's done and bad people he's wronged and terrible things, and writes them down as a log.
Yeah.
I think it makes it that much more powerful.
Yeah.
For sure, that moment of self-discovery and self-realization when you're there. I think Spike Lee handles that okay.
Yeah, but it's like a tiny list. Whereas
but he gives him that moment as well, and the alcoholism, I think, was a neat idea where they kept giving him the bottle of vodka with his food.
Yeah,
until he stopped.
He makes the decision to stop drinking.
There was something I thought very powerful about that.
But yeah, I think that's what they used to override the more subtle idea of doing it that like they did with the Korean one, is like writing out all the bad things you did. And to be fair, I was watching that and I'm like going, I can't remember like a year ago. I'm surprised I couldn't write out that much stuff and be like, okay, when I was 5, I did this. I have a few notable things where I did something bad, but it's not notebooks worth.
No, certainly not.
Yeah, no.
And after you've done so many bad things, like, wouldn't it just jumble? Wouldn't you forget a lot of it? Like, it would just be your days.
Yeah, when you've got 15 years in solitude to think, I guess your memory starts to dig deeper, I guess.
I guess.
I shouldn't have eaten that grape at Safeway.
Yeah. I've wronged the cashier by having more than 10 items.
And I get the feeling maybe that was Dicey's list. I'm running out of big things. I got to write the small things now.
Exactly.
It could be. But yeah, the incarceration was handled very similarly otherwise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they were very similar. I did actually like Spike Lee's painting. Like, I got the feeling Dicey probably could have left because he actually had a window.
No, it changed. It was a picture.
It was you could see it flicker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it did change from night to day.
Okay, because they had more of the rolling painting on Spike Lee's movie. So.
Okay, yeah, no, in the one, the Korean one, it's flickering. It's a picture, and it's like a picture of a windmill in
that's right.
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I remember the windmill, and I wrote it down. I'm like, he's got a window and in a pasture.
Yeah, no,
I didn't realize that it was just a projection.
Well, he alludes to it when he finally gets that brick loose, and he manages to get to kind of that outer. He manages to get his hand outside, and it's raining out, and he can feel it raining, and he thinks, well, I'll get out. He's like, the problem is I don't know how high I am. I could be the 52nd floor, but at least if I plummet to my death, I'm outside.
Yep.
Yeah, which I liked. I thought that was a really neat thing to say. He'll take freedom even for the brief moment before he goes splat.
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, if you'd been in prison for 5 years with no other human contact,
Yeah.
you probably feel pretty similarly.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, just the TV.
Yeah.
Really.
Now, I'm sorry, my memory's gotten vague on me for just momentarily here, but which version was it that had the really weird poster? Well, they both had weird posters on the wall, but I can't remember which one was which. One had the very racist welcome hotel, welcome, thank you for staying kind of poster.
That is the remake.
That is the remake.
with the bellboy, yeah.
With the bellboy. And
Yeah.
then the other one did it have the really weird Christ poster?
I do believe
It's
the
not
bellboy.
a Christ poster. It's like a graphic design where there's somebody, basically, it's like a very maniacal face. Looks like it's crying
Yeah,
blood.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's-
the bellboy poster I do believe was a nod to Jim Jarmusch,
Yes. Oh,
and it was Spike Lee's brother.
Ah,
Was it?
okay.
it was. If it hadn't been in Spike Lee's movie, I would have seen it as certainly being very racist, and it still was to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it is.
Yeah,
It's not. It's, well, I mean, the whole movie just, it's crazy all throughout. Like, the concept of it is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like you can just lock somebody up and
and
you
I think
watch it.
Spike Lee does his best to embrace what kind of crazy he can adapt to an American audience. There's a lot that's been left behind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't take all of it with you. The Korean one, you kind of got to, like we talk about, Korean movies are they're a different flavor. But if you're on board with it, you can totally embrace it, and it's a fun ride.
Always,
And
yeah.
I really wish I'd like to see Americans try it. Just let's see if we can do it.
Yeah.
And people are on board with it, because there's a certain, if you're not taking this serious topic and not taking it too seriously at the same time,
Yeah.
and it's especially when you get to the later reveal, it's really a heavy topic, and you almost need that little bit of distraction to pull you back from it.
You do, and I think that one key difference between both films is Spike Lee's version had no sense of humor at all. None.
No.
Right. Whereas the original, there was lots of situational humor.
Yeah, and there's lots of little weirdness. Like I just watched it this morning, and I know there's a whole bit with ants. Like he's hallucinating ants, like under skin coming out,
Yeah.
like crawling all over him. And then there's like another thing with like a giant ant that the girl sees. Like it's a whole thing with ants. Like
I'm closing with this song called Insect.
yeah,
There you go, yeah.
like the absurdity of that, I think is sort of interesting, and I just liked that little bit of difference.
Yes, and that was one of the things I was actually...
And to kind of show how he's going really crazy.
Yeah, I was watching for that when I was rewatching the North American version. Was, do they really cover that? And I think they replaced the ants with the mouse or the rats,
Yeah.
which was horrifying. It was just a horrifying, terrible scene.
See, and I think that was that other attempt to like get us on board on his side.
A little bit, yeah. He's been
It's-
trapped for years already, and he has a pet.
A mouse.
With babies.
Yeah, with babies and the whole bit. Like, he's got kind of a weird surrogate family.
It's a save the mouse moment.
Yeah, and it's something for him to hold on to, and his captors don't want to give him anything.
No.
Oh no, and they make it worse by
Serving
them
it
to-
as his meal the
They
next
cook
day.
him up.
Yeah.
Babies
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah, no, and it was an absolutely horrifying scene, and I think it's meant to make you feel empathy for him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that works, because I did at that point. That was probably the first point in the movie where I'm like, oh dude, yeah, I felt really bad for him at that point.
Oh, sorry. To go back just a little bit, I remembered something about like when you're talking like it's dark and absurd humor. The guy on the roof that he talks to, like he's like, I have to tell my part of the story. At the end of it, the guy on the roof is like, oh, that's an incredible story. Can I tell you why I want to kill himself? And he just gets up and leaves.
It was amazing. I
Like-
love that so much.
Like
And
it's kind of like I've just wasted 15. I don't have time for this shit.
I can't believe that they did not do that in the Spike Lee version.
I was
And-
disappointed that
Yeah.
wasn't
Because that
left
was
out.
something that would have worked.
But
and
that-
Josh Brolin could have pulled that off beautifully.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
would have, and it's good. But then it gets like real dark, but kind of funny dark later,
Yeah.
where he gets off the roof, goes down the elevator, and he's
And it was
freaked out
this
about the elevator.
Beautiful garden roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not beautiful. Well, it's beautiful
it's
garden
over.
roof, but
But when you open it up,
You do feel like you're in a field.
you feel like
Yeah.
it's in a big field until it really pulls out.
and they get rid of that in the American one. And
It's an actual field.
It's a straight field.
Yeah, and I was disappointed actually. That
And there's a.
they did
Yeah.
that.
I felt that was a bit key. Key moment.
When I was looking at it, like I'm just wondering, and I don't know. I know of this now that you can put like if you put like some sort of greenery on the top of a roof, it really helps the efficiency of a building. And I don't know if that's part of it.
I don't
that's
know.
an actual thing, like to green a building, because like it helps affect like how it's like heated, how it can take heat in or keep heat out. Like
I
it's-
would think it would act as a certain amount of insulation as
Yeah.
well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, and after he walks away, goes down the elevator, comes walking out the window, the guy who's going to throw himself off lands on the car just as he's walking away.
It's shocking, but funny as
At the same
fuck.
time, you start laughing right away because it is shocking, right?
Yeah.
But it's still funny. It's one of those shocked laughs that people get sometimes when it's like,
Yeah.
I was
And he
so-
gets this weird grin. Like, he doesn't even turn around. He hears the crash. He knows exactly what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just and I know I shouldn't have laughed, but I laughed a little
So
at that.
it's weird.
stupid.
Like, okay, in both movies, I mean, they spent 15 years and they start
No.
training their well, it's 20 years in
Yeah.
the other one, but they start training themselves after a certain point. It's not just existing anymore. It's training the mind, training the body, and the weird masturbation scene to the exercising or the dancing. I think it was
The
the
dancing in
dance
the
number in the
video.
Korean, and then it was the exercise.
well, he's
video
got
in the
regular
other one.
television. They're not going to give him porn. You're saying you're not going to jerk off once in 15 years? I'm guessing that's going to happen.
It was pretty funny.
It was very funny.
yeah.
but-
Her song was too short.
But yeah, they start training to these videos, hardening the body. But he's really hardened himself to the entire world at this point. Like, he's very focused on what he needs to do. But
Yeah.
he has such extreme reactions in the Korean one. Like he said, he was trying to escape, and he makes his hole, and then he gas him, and then they throw him.
And then he's on the roof.
Then he's on the roof. And both scenes, when they both open up the luggage into the field, like they're inside their own luggage. So, they were always aware of the escape plan.
They really were, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just fucked with them.
Yeah.
I was a little with the Korean one. I'm like, wow, you guys really went far with it. Both of them, actually. You really went far with this before you decided to let this guy go.
But yeah, like that's the whole point. Like,
But it
it's-
gave him something to do.
Yeah, I think that if you want to torture somebody, and I feel that's the
He
major
chiseled
point.
through a wall with a chopstick.
Yeah,
You really did.
you want to kill somebody's soul, you give them hope, and then take it away. Like
Yeah.
that bit of hope is the best way to toy with somebody.
Yeah. Now, again, all of a sudden my mind's gone blank. But I know in the original there were multiple suicide attempts, and I don't believe there were any in the remake.
There's one in the remake. There was two in the original because he's got actually two scars on his wrist in the original. I show it a number of times. The first one is like a half-assed one, but in the original, he does it twice, and both times they leave the bloodstains on the
and
floor in his room.
That is specifically why I don't recall it being from in the second one, because that room was always clean.
Yes. Yeah, the other one gets like dirty and dingy, like as time goes on, like as he's been there for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've talked about it pretty much every podcast about the attention to detail some
Yeah.
directors have. That brings up the other one I wanted to mention. It was in the original, he has scars, huge scars on his knuckles from punching that wall
Yes.
over and over and over again, whereas just not in the Spike Lee movie.
No.
Yeah, but the same scene is there.
It is
Oh,
there,
for sure.
yes.
Yeah.
But it's just that follow through with the ramifications of doing something like that, where
Yeah.
you do have these
Yeah.
hardened, calloused, scarred knuckles from punching a cinder block wall.
Yeah, and I felt they went with him too as well. Like when he starts training, like I see kind of a chubbier, not in shape guy at the beginning in the original Oldboy, whereas with Josh Brolin in like the remake, I'm like he still looks fairly muscular at the beginning. I know they're trying to hide it with
they-
like baggy clothes.
Well,
but that
They had
doesn't
a
really
pot
work.
belly.
They gave them a pot belly
Yeah,
scene, and
but-
we see it in the mirror and the whole bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was a CGI'd pot belly or what, but
Oh, you can like. Have you ever just stuck out your belly? You can do it.
Yeah,
I can't.
that's what. Well, yes. Sam's 120 pounds.
I know.
Soaking wet. So
Okay, I can stick out my belly and look about
Most
20
people
pounds
can.
heavier. You can do it. Just go and then like just slouch over, and you will have a nice big old.
Yeah, and
you'll
that-
look like crap, and it'll look great.
that kind of looked like what he was doing there. But.
Yeah.
Because trying to make him look dumpy he's actually got.
It's not going to work.
It's going to take a few cheeseburgers, but yeah, like I actually felt the guy we saw at the beginning. I thought they were almost two different actors.
I know, right?
Because it's such a change when he comes out.
Oh, completely.
I think the hair was part of it. I'm sorry, I love his hair in the original movie.
Oh my God, yes.
I really wish they'd done something a little less traditional than just shaving his head in the remake. Mm-hmm. I think that was part of the character, was the wildness of that hair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. Because when I think Oldboy, that hair is automatically what pops into my head. Because he's just a crazy, like, I think it's a nod to, like, you've become feral. You've not been socializing with people for 15 years. You're going to become, there's an essence of you that's feral.
And yeah, that definitely plays. But, Spike Lee didn't do it, so fuck that movie.
Yeah.
No, actually, I like
It's
the
not
Spike Lee
bad.
movie.
It's not bad.
No.
But yeah, like he eventually gets released, and the two releases are slightly different.
Slightly. And that, because the girl with the umbrella shows up in the second one.
Yeah,
Right?
I think that's to get him out of that field.
Yeah, whereas the umbrella...
Where's the white rabbit?
The umbrella is a visual cue to this constant hypnotism therapy that he's going through. They're implanting certain cues in his brain so to manipulate his life. It's completely ridiculous.
No.
It actually is completely ludicrous.
Especially considering it's got the little tick marks for
Wait.
how long he's been in there.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Well-
the remake has no hypnotism.
No, I'm saying the original does.
Oh, the original
and
does.
it's ludicrous.
But there's no
It makes-
tick marks
No,
and no umbrella.
but no, the umbrella has the tick marks.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
The umbrella has the tick marks in the remake.
But why? Yeah, but why?
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
a good
but why?
point.
That's-
Well,
that's-
see, I thought that was
Yeah.
just a nod to what he did to his hand.
Yeah, no,
but
I just felt like it was a nod
umbrella
to the
showed up
movie.
when he was abducted too.
Yeah.
You saw the girl with the umbrella. He goes to hit on her when he
Oh,
gets
yeah.
abducted, and it's
Yeah.
got the little red tick marks on it.
Yeah, but see, I thought that was a nod not to the hypnotism. That's a nod to the umbrella in the original.
Well, I think it's just a nod to the original. Some of the visual cues that he didn't get to use because they don't have a hypnotism angle in
No,
in
they
the remake
They
at
don't
all.
really. That's true.
Granted, the manipulation feels more natural because I feel like the hypnotism is a bit of a cheat in the original.
See, but I don't buy that. Here's the problem I have with that. Is he's like, think of it this way. When you're playing a long game, you're talking about, okay, I found the right
Long game,
family.
yeah, they've manipulated
Yeah,
them
but
for
like I
years.
found the right family with the right neglectful money and the right father. Like, how is he 100% sure how she'll react to that home environment? You can't be 100% sure how anybody reacts to anything. Like, you can have people who've had terrible upbringings or been abused and become well-adjusted people when they grow up. You have people who are brought up with the most loving families and can be complete psychopaths.
Mm-hmm.
That long game doesn't make any sense because you cannot be 100% sure how they will react. Hypnotism, on the other hand, at least makes it seem like they've manipulated them in a way that the reaction will happen.
Yeah, there's little
more of a
pushes.
guarantee.
Yeah, because it's not like he would have. There was any guarantee him running into this woman in the Spike Lee that anything would go past that moment.
No, zero.
No.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolute
what the umbrella
zero.
lady was to do, though. I think that was to. You're right. To lead him to the.
And
person
I'm
that they
wondering
needed.
if maybe the hypnotism was part of the 40 minutes that got cut.
And
'cause
that may be part of-
having that umbrella cue with the slashes. I'm like, nobody has an umbrella like
Yeah.
that. Why would you put it in the movie and not have it do something?
And
Well,
they had other cues in the original with like the tone on the phone.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tone on the phone was a cue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But that leads me to one of the things that's the key differences between the two characters is when they first get out and the first time they get into the fight where they test out their new fighting skills.
Yes.
There's a huge difference there because Daisu, his first experience is rescuing somebody,
Yeah.
right? In the remake, he kicked the shit out of those football players just because they stopped him.
Yeah, just high school football players.
Yeah. And I
Why?
mean, he ruins them.
Oh yeah,
Right.
There's the girlfriends are screaming. I mean, the guys are being dicks, but they didn't deserve what they got.
No,
Oh
not by a
my
long shot.
god, like he destroyed this guy could have probably had a football career and he destroyed it by like just breaking his ankle and
Right.
like a
And
million
that's where you first see that Josh Brolin's character hasn't really changed at all.
No.
He just doesn't drink anymore.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
still doesn't give a shit about
that's why I feel
anybody.
the alcoholism is just a cheat to make us feel sympathy.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel it, because I'm like, okay, he doesn't drink anymore, but he's still a dick.
He is all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Daisu, I feel like, yeah, he drank a lot, but that was endemic to like who he
Yeah.
was as a person. He was actually trying to go through a change.
Yeah, well, through years and years of self-realization,
Yeah.
he's still fairly cold, but he knows the difference of right and wrong, and
He's realized that he was a pretty reprehensible person.
yeah,
in
and
his
he
previous
doesn't want to
life.
inflict more of that on anybody else and add to the list.
Yeah, the voiceover.
that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
The voiceover on it, he talks about, he's like
yeah.
going, I didn't realize, like, partway is like going, this is just a
Yeah.
book of terrible things. I thought I was normal. Instead, I was a
Granted,
terrible
he
person.
could have saved that guy on the roof, but how do you keep a guy from committing suicide who's already committed to it?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he could have, maybe he didn't. That wasn't a decision. Maybe I think for
Or-
him to make in his mind.
Or maybe it's because he's like, well, I tried to commit suicide and that was going to be my release. Why would I begrudge this guy his own?
You're right.
Yeah, so
You're right. Yeah,
this podcast, we're taking all the fun out of the films for you
I
and
know.
analyzing the heck out of them.
that's so.
I
deep.
know. Yeah, but it's true. Like, it's
It is,
not.
it is true, though. That's a very logical reason for him to have not even
Yeah.
tried, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to. But yeah, like he ends up, yeah, you're right. But the two differences, one guy's saving one guy's just angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's very angry. And in the Korean one,
He's not sure if it'll work. He's
Yeah.
like, will 15 years of pretend training work? Well, we'll see.
Oh yeah,
Like-
and
and
he's
then
all impressed with himself
He's like,
afterwards.
Yeah.
I guess it does.
Yeah.
It does, and it was a great fight scene.
It was a great fight
really
scene.
good.
All the fight scenes in the original are
Yeah.
spectacular. They're,
I got to say, the American ones are pretty decent.
they were
too.
pretty good. I was rather impressed by how well they were done, actually.
The alternative to the hallway, it's more of a more open environment, and going down the stairs and
Yeah.
stuff. There's both of them were really cool in those
They're
major
good,
scenes.
but I like the more enclosed feeling of the original one.
That-
Yeah.
And the fact that he gets stabbed in the back right near the beginning, and there's a
Keeps
whole
going.
fight with that knife
Oh.
in his back.
Oh yeah, and he
And-
looks like he's gonna fade, and then he just comes back.
Yeah, and you look at it, I watched both of these today, very close together. Now, in the original one, like, he gets hit a lot. He takes a lot of
Oh,
hits.
yeah.
At one point, he's on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And they're kicking and hitting him.
Oh yeah, they're kicking the shit out of him.
In the remake, he doesn't go down
No.
at all, not once, and he's not hit nearly as often. He gets
Although he
out
does
fairly.
get the knife in the back.
He gets, yeah,
right
near
at
the end of the
but
fight,
he
yeah.
doesn't
Right.
show up.
Yeah.
And he's not nearly as
The fight's
bloody.
pretty much over
He's
at
not
that
nearly
point.
as bloody and nearly as bruised
No.
as Daisu is. Like, it's a cleaner fight, but I think that's the Americanization of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the hero can't look too weak.
Yeah.
But I feel it loses just a little bit.
Daisu has so many extreme moments of weakness.
He's bleeding all over before he gets to the second fight in the elevator.
I mean, physically and mentally, he's lots of moments of weakness.
Yeah. So, but which makes it like this is a vulnerable character trying to go after something much larger than him for vengeance. Like, that's that single-mindedness of somebody who's just your average person is just amazing, which I think is what made it so compelling.
Yeah, it really does. Now, maybe it's just me, but do you feel like in the original, Daisu had a lot more time to sort of solve his mystery than
Yeah.
the character in the remake?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
because
think
it,
there's
it
more.
seemed to me that he spent a lot of time sort of just figuring things out on his own before he sort of started getting the phone calls and the ultimatums and the timelines, right? Whereas Josh Brolin, like the second he walks out of the box, that phone's there, and he's already starting to get, and the countdown clock starts.
Yeah. I liked, what was it,
He
in
doesn't
the
get
original.
he's free for a few days before any kind of countdown.
Yeah, and he's already
Yeah.
starting his own investigation anyhow.
Yeah.
But in the original, another little funny bit is like he's at the sushi restaurant and he's looking
Yes.
inside and like he's like, what's that smell? It's like some dirty hobo's there to give him his phone and his wallet. They've hired some guy. He's like, don't ask me anything. I don't know anything. And he walks away. It's just this weird looking, funny dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right too. I liked that actually very much.
Little bit of levity because he's just weird.
It was weird. Well, they're just strange moments of weirdness. And he goes to the sushi place, and
Yeah.
that's where he meets the girl.
And he says, "I want to eat something alive."
I know.
Yeah, and
That was
That's,
like
Mido.
incredibly. It was actually spine tingling.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. He's just been eating dumplings every day for 15 years.
Yeah, and apparently, and I did do
Chinese
some research on
takeout.
this, that is actually common practice in Korea to eat live octopus.
Right.
But you've got to chew it a lot. It can kill you going down because it'll suction.
It's wiggling around his mouth. It was so gross.
It's spine tingling, and it made your skin crawl at the same time. It's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that's just intense.
Like he eats the top off first, and like this thing as he's chewing is fighting back. Like your food is fighting you as you're eating it.
If you watch this movie for no other reason, watch it for that scene and the hallway fight scene.
And the actor who did it, he did it. He realistically did it. But like I think he was like
It
a
was
Buddhist.
a lot
He was
just less
not
disturbing after I'd read that was
happy
common
about it.
practice in Korea, where they do eat live octopus or octopi.
Yeah.
So it was a little. I was a little less squeamish after that. I was like, okay, well, they do this all the time.
Did he
It's no
pass
big
out
deal.
with it still wiggling in his mouth? Was
See, yeah, and that could have killed him.
He just kind of went punk onto his plate.
Yeah, and that should have killed him because like apparently if you don't eat it enough, it'll
Suction
choke
to your
you.
throats and
Oh, sure, because it's wiggling around and
those suckers, the suckers are still active, right?
yeah.
Yeah, there's like lots of weird stuff you can get. I think there's another dish where it's dead. It actually is dead, but when you pour like soy sauce on it, it like dances because it's just got muscles in it that it like reacts to it.
The
It's
salt.
a
It's the
weird
salt.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The salt makes it do stuff, but it's so you can eat stuff that looks alive, but it's
I don't know if
actually
I'd eat it, but it certainly goes to see somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. As it starts shrinking the muscles on it.
Although I think some of the, like on BuzzFeed, the Try Guys tried like eating the live octopus. Ugh.
Yeah, no, I pass on eating my food alive. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't even like it, if you serve like fish to me, make sure the head's gone because if I can look into my food's eyes, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything with eyes is kind of problematic
Yeah.
because you can get sheep's head and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
Stuff we won't.
Culinary
eat.
delights.
Culinary
On Invasion of the
delights
Remake.
here on Invasion of the Remake.
things we will and won't eat. And
Cooking with Invasion in the Remake.
I think we've all agreed we won't stare our food in the face.
That's
Yeah.
yes, we're in agreement.
Yeah. So yeah, but the two meetings are different in each movie. Like in this one, he goes to the sushi restaurant and meets her because he saw her on a sushi show. He
Yeah, it was like a
says.
battle of the chefs or something like that.
Yeah, and apparently, like women don't make good sushi because their hands are warm or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's an interesting thing because he sees her. They both see who they think their daughter is on television.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't, Odaisi doesn't realize who he's talking to is his daughter.
No.
Whereas Josh Brolin, he sees this person that was his daughter growing up into this pianist or no
Cellist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just like saying pianist.
You can just say musician,
No.
pianist.
Yeah,
Okay,
it sounds dirty.
but it's like it's that's the thing. That's the whole misdirect where it's.
Oh,
like,
and that's a brilliant misdirect.
It is, and
Yeah.
I think that's how they handled his hypnosis.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is instead of hypnosis, they went with a entirely false backstory.
Yeah,
But
this
see-
manipulation of him through threat of
Through media.
action. Well,
Yeah.
media,
and there's a commentary there,
and
as well.
also threat of
Yeah.
of something happening to his
Yeah.
daughter, he's perceived as his daughter.
But the hypnotism in the other one is about creating that meeting and making everything
Yes.
occur.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he doesn't know what his daughter's going to look like from 3 years old.
yeah,
No.
After 15 to 20 years of being trapped in a hotel room.
yeah, and
No.
in the remake, they did it through manipulation of physical devices, like using the umbrella to lead into that to
Yeah.
the TV and video that he saw.
Yeah, but I mean, like the manipulation of creating the relationship, that still doesn't make any sense.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know that they're going to end up in that type of relationship for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's just you can make an argument that I'm forgetting Elizabeth Olsen's character there. She's like
She's a nurse.
A nurse but
It's like a mobile medical unit, like
Yeah.
to deal with like the homeless.
It's a mobile free
Okay.
clinic. Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you. I was just trying to figure out how to describe that. So, I mean, maybe that's something that hit the cutting room floor. She can't walk away from somebody who she perceives in jeopardy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, they talk about her past with alcohol and drug
but
addiction.
that does
as well,
that mean
right?
she's been sleeping with every other homeless guy she meets? in her
No,
little
but
thing?
maybe, I mean, initially I think she sees something of herself in him.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but
And they try to touch base on that with the discussion about about her alcoholism.
Yeah.
Still don't buy it.
And there's, I guess at this point, that maybe some more of the stuff that was left on the cutting room floor was the development of that relationship.
I think the hypnotism is a cheat, and the motivation in the remakes weak. So either way, I don't like what facilitates either one of them. So.
Yeah, true. But I just feel the hypnotism, at least, I know it's a cheat, but it makes more sense.
At least it's subtle, because with hypnotism, you can't make somebody do something they wouldn't normally do. So they're very subtle moments. It's not a case of like, ding, you're going to fall in love with this person.
Yeah, no.
They're cues of a certain nature to get them attached to each other.
Well, they do allude to it, because he does say, is like, as much as we can do with hypnotism, as much as Miss You is a great hypnotist, we can't make people fall in love. We just had to try and create
make sure we put you together.
Yeah, that's what they did.
So, I mean, that's a suspension of disbelief for both movies, really. You kind of have to go there. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of cartoon shit happening in the original Oldboy.
Yeah.
But you just kind of have to accept that, okay, this is going to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very odd that she decides to take him home to take care of him after he passes out.
Yeah, I thought that was very strange, too. I'm like, you aren't normal.
No, and
you're not paying
like
attention to anything. You're an idiot.
This strange person who comes in or lies squid, I think she's just amused by him, wants to keep him around.
They talked about that as part of the hypnosis, that she was hypnotized too.
She was, she was hypnotized to like touch his hand, and then when she touched his hand, he passed out. Like, she was cued, but yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, she was his trigger and vice versa, and maybe that's why she took him home to look at. I'm like, I even made in my notes, I'm like, this guy passes out in a restaurant with squid squirming in his mouth, and you took him home and not to a hospital?
That bothered me. I'm like, why would you? You could have killed him.
Liability issues?
Yeah.
You don't want to get sued?
Well, I think once you're like in a sushi place and like you serve live octopus, I'm sure liability doesn't come into play that much, but the taking him to a hospital, for sure, that should be a thing that should be done.
That should have been a thing, yeah. So I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that was a little bit odd, yeah. But again, sometimes you just have to buy the things that they need to drive the plot forward, right? And that's one of those things where, you just have to say, okay, it happened. Yeah,
I think in the remake they actually do. They tackled that particular bit that we're upset about, where Elizabeth Olsen comes to look after him because his buddy has called her. She's like, he's malnourished and he's exhausted. Like, are you sure you can't take him to a hospital?
Well, and the fact that she's a trained medical professional helps, right? I mean, it does make that a lot more believable for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, like, again, it's not even her place. I like it, the fact that he's at his buddy's place. His buddy just calls her in to look after him. That makes a little bit more sense rather than her taking him right to her apartment.
True.
Yeah, it's not until after he gets the shit beat out of him that he gets to go to her place, I think.
Yeah.
No. After she's threatened by Sam
right,
Jackson and his goons, that's the first time he sets foot in her place.
That's right. Yeah. No, his friend. They're in both cases they were childhood friends.
Yeah.
Right. The friend is an important part of the movie.
Yes.
He actually is quite an important part of the movie.
Yeah.
I like him better in the original because he's funnier. One. And two, the fact that he owns that internet cafe, it plays into the rest of the story really well. He's helping him with the research and learning how to cope with this new technology that would not have existed. Yeah,
and that was the thing I was thinking about when I was watching both of these movies, is how jarring, like the first time, like 1988 to 2003, that's jarring. There is no internet when you go in.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, Michael Imperioli, who's Chucky in the remake, the friend, has similar scenes of kind of teaching him the internet.
Yeah, but I mean, like when he went in, it was still the 90s. There was stuff. There was like computers. He kind of has more of an idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, because these movies are, 10 years apart?
Yeah.
10 years apart, yeah.
So yeah, which, technology-wise is a lot.
Wait, do you think maybe that's why, maybe they did 20 rather than 15 to make it seem more jarring? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I liked the business owner's business, I guess.
Maybe
Yeah.
I think maybe they just wanted the daughter to be just a wee bit older.
I thought about that too. That's another problem I had. They want the daughter to be a wee bit older, and I'm like, going, but how does that fix anything? They're like, oh yeah, it's incestuous, but at least she's not too young. Like, I don't quite get how that makes it okay.
It's incest and not pedophilia.
Well, in the original, she's of age.
Yeah, they are. So I don't know. I think maybe they just wanted a little older.
He's chasing tail. That's his own, but just not as young. Like, he's not chasing truly young women. Does that make him a better person? No, that's stupid. I don't.
Well,
why did these 5 years exist? I don't get it.
And to be fair, he wasn't chasing her. He never actively pursued her.
Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, in the original movie, he did briefly. Right. I mean, he got very aggressive sexually with her at one point.
Yeah, she's got a knife on the toilet. And he
Oh,
comes
yeah.
in.
That was right at the beginning, too.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, and then there's there's a
'Cause-
line that I wrote down.
But I think that was a case of him just not knowing. Through the Korean one, there's lots of moments where, he doesn't really know how to interact with society anymore
No.
outside of what's television. So he just went for it, like, I haven't had sex, I haven't had anything in 15 years.
So that's like really rapey.
It's totally rapey.
It's totally rapey, but then they do something that really this one line just pissed me the fuck off, where she says after he does this, where she's like, I can understand why you're upset. I took you here and then I rejected you, so I get why you're angry. A, fuck that. And B, she says later, I may eventually do this. I may resist in the heat of the moment, but don't stop.
Yeah. I thought that was very strange. She's like, I might warm up to you eventually.
I'll warm up to you eventually, and if I kind of say no, just continue and just go full rape me. Like, that's what she's saying.
It was really disturbing to hear her say that line,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, like, I was like, what? Did they hypnotize her to be stupid? I'm wondering.
Yeah, I almost feel like there's a whole other movie there that I'd like to see the other side of that equation of why the way she is the way she is.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. But yeah, I don't know if it's cultural, but fuck, I would just didn't get that at all.
That was strange.
Because
to
I'm
say the
sorry, I've
least.
taken you to my house and then you've attacked me in my bathroom. You're leaving.
Yeah.
And he actually is leaving, but she has him
Yeah.
stay.
Oh, and wait, she tells him, she says, oh, by the way, the door doesn't lock, don't you come in.
Yeah.
It's like she invited the. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but it's almost like she was trying to invite some sort of conflict, or the movie was trying to set up that situation clearly.
It was trying to set up that situation, but I don't know if I've ever said, okay, this doesn't lock, don't come in. I've never looked upon that as being an invitation to somewhere.
No, I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
Yeah.
but she
I won't
Why?
come in.
Of course.
Because you're a human person who fucking understands shit.
Exactly. But why was the line even necessary? Like it was like it was setting it up for that.
The line was
Aggressive
necessary, I think, only because they wanted that scene.
Exactly.
It makes
That's what I was trying
no
to say.
sense from a standpoint of how people would behave.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Right? Is
Although he's been behind locked doors most of his life, I think maybe there could be part of he wants to.
But he didn't go in there as an infant. He's aware of how things should work.
No, I mean I can see where in part of his mind is I'm never going to be caught behind a locked door again. And at the same time, he's definitely wants to embrace as much life as he can because he hasn't got a lot left. Or, any moment, because he's being manipulated through all this, and he knows.
So you're saying going into a room
I'm
to
not
rape a woman is embracing
at no
life as
point
much
are
as
either
you
of us
can?
condoning this.
No,
At
neither
no
one.
point.
I'm not condoning anything. I'm just trying to figure
I
out
know.
what the character might be driven by in his head, because he's not right in his head. He's
No,
not.
I was
And-
happy at the point where he said I did something terrible and he was going
Yeah,
to leave. I'm
and
like,
then he was
okay,
about to
good.
do something terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, maybe you can add that one to your list because
Yeah.
you owe her a little bit more than just an apology. But then again, she's batshit crazy too. So
I know. It just it's but yeah, like I don't know how much of that is hypnotism, but yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird setup for stuff. But yeah, and then beyond this, then they start the whole like looking for those dumplings.
yeah, these could be just be foreign sexual fetishes that I don't understand. So
Yeah.
Yeah, quite likely actually.
yeah.
But yeah, the dumpling search was pretty much the same in both movies.
Yeah.
It was condensed in the remake.
Yes.
because it was quite drawn out.
Yeah, I was glad that
do a
they
lot.
shortened that up.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't need to be as long as
You
it
don't need
was.
to watch somebody look for dumplings.
Although
for like,
it did get kind of funny after a while where he's just, whoa.
he throws up.
Yeah, he's had so many dumplings. In the remake, it just felt like, oh, he had bad ones.
Yeah.
But, I felt like he'd eaten so many dumplings that day that...
His body's literally rejecting it. His body's like, you're free now. You don't have to do this to
I love
yourself.
that idea that he was searching for a flavor. That certain flavor that only that restaurant, like, that was their dumpling, that signature flavor. Because he had so little to work with.
Yes.
Like, that was genius. And he had that little tag that would
Half the name of the restaurant.
half the
Yeah.
name of the restaurant that got stuck in with the food.
But what's weird is in the original one, it's Blue Dragon. He thinks he has the full name.
Yeah.
And they only find out later that it's like the Violet Blue Dragon or something like
Yeah,
that.
because there are no Asian restaurants with the name Dragon in it.
I know, yeah.
I
They've
can
got,
think of maybe 4 or 5 in this city alone.
they have like a notebook. Oh, that they're going
Yeah.
from dragon to dragon to dragon to dragon to blue dragon to blue dragon to blue dragon.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that you have to admit, I like that note that's a hard search. If you're going to be feeding people something, having your food from a place that has just dragon in the name, that's smart. You're thinking.
Oh, yeah.
But he's had 15 or 20 years to identify the flavor of those dumplings because they're all he's had to eat.
Yeah.
You memorize that.
Oh, yeah. No, that was that was a really neat thing for him. By this point, we got our mystery man is starting to reveal himself through
Yes.
cell phone calls and subtle manipulation. And, here's a guy who's really living at the top of the food chain. Like, he's like retardedly rich to the point where he's just got maze of water features in his apartment.
Yeah.
Like, you
And I love the apartment in the original.
yeah,
I
it's
really
quite
wish
something.
they'd followed through with
Yeah.
that on the...
And the closet. I'm sorry. I'm mesmerized by the closet
Oh,
in the original.
Yeah.
It's a cube, and then it opens up into like 4 sections, and you go wander in the little cross in the middle, and then it closes up all
It's
into
such a
one little
neat
box.
loft apartment. That
It is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's a masterful use of open space. At the same time, I don't know if it'd be really humid with all that water.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you know what would be a nice like tone is to make it like he's just sort of like asthmatic or something, and he just needs a humid environment. Like that's what's wrong with him.
But yeah, he's got his own swimming pool in there, and he's toned, and he's haunted by this one thing in his past, and I don't know if this is the time to reveal it.
And
or not.
they changed it up in between the 2 movies as to like what he suffers from, or like in the
It's
original
really,
one.
Actually, you know what? This is one point where I think the remake went above and beyond to make it even more
True.
horrifying.
especially
yeah.
with the flashback.
Yeah.
I do
think-
admit that
I
was
think
good.
we need to talk the hallway fight scene a little bit more.
Yeah, 'cause,
before
okay,
we go into the motivation.
Because it gets, and this is the dumplings get him there. Because
Yes.
finally he finds that one where he's like, this is it. And so he sees a delivery about to go out, and so he's like, I'm going to follow the delivery guy, which is brilliant. Like he's gonna get him. Oh, I was so happy when I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they both had similar scenes. Although I like in the remake with Josh Brolin's character,
Yeah.
He steals this kid's bike.
Yeah.
to
Steals
follow.
the delivery driver's bike.
Was that a nod to the Goonies?
Yes, it totally was.
Oh my God, I just realized that's amazing. It's a beautiful
totally
bike.
was.
And it has it has a basket in
Right?
the front, like the little girl's bike.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Spike Lee.
I wonder if Josh said, you know what would be really funny is if I stole a bike with a basket on it.
Yeah.
And Spike went, yes.
Yes. It's like, do you think people will get it? I'm like, oh, they'll get it.
Actually, the title card at the beginning of the remake, that was actually designed by Josh Brolin.
Nice.
He did that.
Oh.
Cool.
He's a talented man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had those skills. So that's awesome. He's always, every time I do a little research into him, he's more and more fascinating. So when I saw that, there was something odd about that, and I kind of looked into it again. And it wasn't quite clicking, and I'm like, oh, that's right. You weren't an adult when I saw this last time.
Yes. And interestingly enough, my wife and son watched the Goonies the day before we were recording this podcast. I should have.
And see,
you know
I had
his voice hadn't even broken yet. I didn't realize that, but
He's so young.
his voice is actually starting to break in the movie because his voice is really quite deep and resonant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
So So yeah, I found that very interesting. I'm like,
He's like just a young kid.
Yeah, puberty did him some favors.
yeah.
Well, yeah, like he was a little older, but yeah, than the other Goonies. But yeah, I get it. Oh my God, thank you, because I was sitting there going like, "There's something different about this, and I can't put my finger on it."
It was totally the Goonies. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it
this
totally
is
was.
fantastic.
And if it wasn't, well, then we just found something that ties those two movies together. And
Yeah,
Nice.
I guess only Spike Lee and Josh Brolin know for sure, but it sure felt like that was a little bit of a nod to the hat to his childhood there.
That's so
There we
awesome.
go. Let's put Josh Brolin on the same childhood bike.
On a bike. That's great. Yeah, we'll make it a more manly bike this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, again, I'm those movies are so similar that I sometimes have trouble differentiating between the two of them. But there's one of them, the lead character says, "Why did they have to order from a restaurant so far away?" I think that was in the original.
Yeah, I think that was in because he's running after it. He's
Yeah.
not on a bike in the original.
No, and because the delivery driver's on a bike.
Yeah, the delivery driver's on the bike and he's running, and there's like a point where he's like booking it uphill, and I'm like, oh man.
Oh yeah, and it goes on.
Yeah.
It's a long haul.
Yeah, but then you get sort of the hint of how he knows why these are the dumplings, because he talks to the delivery driver and he's like going, tell them not to put so many scallions in their fried dumpling.
Yeah, and I like the way his entrance into the hotel was handled in the original far better, where he follows the delivery driver into the
Yeah.
elevator and sees how he presses the two buttons.
Yeah,
to
it's
get to
two
the
at once.
7.5 floors. 7.
7.5. It's a hidden floor within a larger building. Like how, that's evil. Like I love that detail. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I really like that detail. Whereas Josh Brolin just basically bullies his way in.
Yeah.
And I got the feeling it was the whole
No,
building.
Josh Brolin kills delivery driver and then kills like the other guy who's there.
Yeah, well, that's why I said bullies, but basically kills his way in.
Yeah, bully kill. It's
I was looking up some trivia, and I think he killed about the entire body count, I should say. I don't know if it's all Josh's fault, but 42 people
yeah.
died in that. And most of them in the hallway
Yes.
scene, because it's crazy.
Yeah, and this is where we get to like a huge difference of how he tortures the guy when he finally gets into the room with all the televisions and all the information.
Yeah,
Yes.
and finds the old tapes of the videos or the audio tapes.
Yeah.
Audio tapes,
Yeah.
Cassettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call back, everybody. Remember cassette tapes?
Yes, they were what you would put music on prior to CDs. CDs were these discs that also contained music. Now it's just MP3s.
Yeah.
So, the music used to be on physical copies, people.
Yeah. We used to have to take stuff out and put it in a thing and then play it.
That's right. In fact, my stereo, even now, still has cassette player on
Oh,
it.
sweet.
Which is sweet.
Yeah. They're just a hindrance at this point.
You know,
but-
you're a hipster now, Jay.
oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Look at you go.
Oh, fuck.
You're so old that you become cool again.
Oh, okay.
Really? I was just thinking it was Jeff's influence. That's just what's happening. Jeff's a self-described hipster.
Jeff tries to be a hipster. Like I just accidentally became it.
See, I think with hipsterism, it can go so like if you go far enough, you end up becoming sincere.
Yeah. Which is a scary thing.
It just loops around. Hipsterism is just a circle. It's not a gradient.
Oh shit! I caught up to myself.
Yeah, I know. I've looped right back around to being cool again. Nice.
Yeah.
It's like fashion.
Yeah, it's very true. But you were talking about the torture.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really horrifying in both films.
Yeah.
But I think the
original really creeped me out.
See, and I actually found the remake creepier.
Oh, see, I didn't.
I'm sorry, drawing the dots on the neck and cutting away a tearaway head.
Oh,
It was so graphic and well done that, again, I actually felt a little nauseous.
Well, he's
And-
not cutting deep enough. He's cutting tiny divots.
No, I understandably so, but the
but salting the wound.
solving the wound and creating the image in your head, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. Imagine somebody coming in and taking a claw hammer
Oh, they were both
and
horrific.
taking out
yeah.
your teeth. Like, that really bothers me because
that
there's...
hammer was his friend for a while.
Yeah, I think it's because it's all where your fears are, I think, maybe, too. Whereas I have fears about teeth because you can hear... When you get dental work done, the noise permeates your skull because it just vibrates everything in
Yeah.
there.
I think they're equally effective in their own way. Like, I think Spike Lee created something just as disturbing.
Oh yeah, he wanted to do something a little
It
different.
doesn't really change the scene at all. It just makes it's just a new visual that incites the same response at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I think it's the dialogue while he's doing it is what made it work really well for me, and the salt.
Yeah.
Well, what I liked about the original one is there's slightly more exposition prior to this.
Yeah.
In the original one, you hear the guy who runs the place talking on the phone. He's like, "No, we don't do people with bodyguards. We just take small fish." And he's like, "There's other companies that handle those types of jobs," implying that there's more than one hotel like this.
This is an industry,
and that to me was just more interesting. Like, I'm like, "Holy crap!" There's like other.
This is a thing. Yeah.
This is a thing. If you know where to find them, you can do this to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if everybody knows if there's some sort of thematic sequel that's set in the same Oldboy world, because I feel like there's more established here that they could draw upon. So I don't know if there's something exists like that, but I'd like to know if there's an Oldboy 2 or something that's set in the same world that.
Yeah, so you get more of an idea about this hotel and like how it's run.
Yeah, and that it is actually an industry.
Yeah.
I sincerely believe that Samuel L. Jackson was extremely well cast in his role, as he always is.
Yeah.
He just chews up everything that he's given.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, like, because when I saw Sam Jackson, I thought we were going to get a major change. I actually, when I saw his name in the credits, I thought he was going to be the guy manipulating
That's
everything.
what I thought, too.
Yeah, and then when he winds up being the guy controlling the hotel, I'm like, oh, that's
And we see that fairly
unexpected.
early on, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With his different colored mohawk.
Maybe,
if you're going to get him throughout the history of it all, if you get him as somebody like Sam Jackson, you want to give him a couple more shots and scenes.
You do, yeah. You start off. Actually, there's an earlier shot with Samuel L. Jackson when they're showing like Josh Brolin when he's incarcerated. And he's got like this blonde mohawk, and I'm like, oh my god, Ruby Rod from Fifth Element. That's where I went with that. But I have an idea now that we're thinking like he runs this hotel. I'm like, remember the movie 1408? Maybe he just went insane, and this is his next job. After he ran 1408.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to run the trailer for the American one, and then we'll come back and close this sucker out.
Where's the phone? Hello? Hello? Hey, tell me why I'm in here. Look at me. No.
Get that the body of Donna Hawthorne was discovered. The prime suspect, Joseph Doucette, the victim's former husband and father of the surviving child.
Your father's been missing for 20 years. If I could somehow bring him here, do you think you could forgive him?
I could try.
What happened to him?
He showed up last night.
I need your help, Chucky.
I haven't seen the guy in like 20 years.
Who are you?
If you were trying to find your daughter and clear your name, I could help you.
If you would like to see your daughter alive again, answer 2 questions. 1, why did I imprison you for 20 years? And 2, why did I let you go?
Whoever you are, I will find you.
I only run this place, all right? You might want to think about what you're doing here.
I've been thinking about it for the last 20 years.
Okay, that last bit was when he was clicking the knife to cut the chunks out of Sam Jackson's neck.
Yeah.
So that trailer was well placed.
If I've learned anything from this movie, is a box cutter is an amazingly good and subtle weapon.
Totally.
Because it does come back. They don't let it lie. It's great.
Yeah.
Much like the hammer in the original, the box cutter plays a significant role all throughout the entire film.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, the original, he grabs that claw hammer, and that's when he gets into the big fight scene as he leaves with his tapes. And I love the fact that right at near the end of the fight, he's got the knife in his back, and he actually lost the hammer during the fight.
Yeah.
And once everybody's down, he goes back and gets the hammer.
Yeah, it's like, this is my friend. Right? It's like that scene from
I've
Full
done
Metal
so
Jacket,
well
right?
with this hammer.
Yeah.
It's like the scene from Full Metal Jacket where he's like, this is my gun. It is my friend. Right?
Yeah.
It's the hammer is his friend.
Yeah, like he there's something about that makes that hammer suddenly is not just a weapon anymore; it's a character.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
and they do pay homage to it in the remake, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that was a thing. Like, I remember when I first watched this movie and he's fighting and it's like just in this hallway, a guy in a hallway with a hammer. It's a simple concept, but it fucking pays off. You think a claw hammer is a great weapon.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all stuck in bigger action movies now, bigger, better, and more creative, and sometimes the viciousness of simple works, and it works to great effect in this movie.
It truly does, and it really is. We've done discussions about top fight scenes on lists and stuff like that. This has got to be on lists somewhere.
Oh, it is. It is. This is actually how I heard about Oldboy. Because I heard a hammer fight scene, and I'm like, I'm watching that.
Yes, because it is truly worth watching the movie for. Subtitles are dubbed, but watch it because it will blow your mind. You're cheering for him at the end of it, figuratively.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Spike Lee does a good job with it, but it's not quite as good as the Korean one.
No.
It doesn't go on as long.
It's a little too slick.
Yeah, it's a little too slick. He's a little too heroic in it because, he doesn't get near as bad at it as we said.
Oh, in the original one, too, there's a moment where...
It just feels like it goes on forever in the original.
Well, in the original, there's
amazing.
a moment... There's a guy who he's already kind of cut with the claw, but he's sitting there by the wall just trying to catch his breath while these guys are writhing on the floor. There's like a funny, humorous moment where he's like, there's a breather in the fight scene.
You guys wait there. I'm not ready for you.
Like, I'm just, wow, this is a lot of work.
Like, give the old man a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one guy, he's not sure. He's like, he's still got the hammer, but he's kind of tired. Should I go? I don't know.
Yeah, there's those moments where they're thinking about the fight. It's like, do I go in? Do I not? Like, there's just these things that you would think would probably happen in real life.
Yes.
Yeah, they're goons, but they're not trained like people.
And especially after he's mowed down 15 to 20 people, I'd be a little cautious at that point too.
Yeah, this guy may have just a hammer, but he's good with it.
Yes. And there's the scene coming up later on where they show up again, and in the original, they show up, they're busted up. Like they actually visually acknowledge the damage he did to this gang.
Yeah.
Whereas not so much when they show up in the remake.
No, these guys. But I don't know. I assumed that the ones in the remake that show up at her house are like the higher end guys.
The guys who avoided the original conflict?
Yeah, who told the guys, you go in there. Like they're the people in the movie who are like, get that guy. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gets out of there. He gets into an elevator with a bunch of guys, and then the doors open, and everybody kind of piles out, and he walks out with his hammer.
I like that because we didn't need more fight at that point.
No.
But it acknowledged how big of a badass he really is.
Yeah, and they kind of do that in the original, where it's like it's a bigger service elevator, and he's like got a sword at some point where he stabs this one guy. That's how he falls down.
Theirs, yeah.
And that's where that goes. But yeah, at this point, he's like beat the crap up. Gets out, and then some quote-unquote good Samaritan picks him up off the ground and gets him to where he needs to go.
Yeah, and this is where we are introduced to our manipulator throughout this, and that's what I like. Your villain in this movie, your antagonist in this movie, it doesn't get introduced to like an hour in. There's little moments of he's over the phone or whatever. But we don't physically see him until this moment.
And even then, you don't see him; you see his feet.
Yeah,
or like a hat, and that's it.
And man, he's really well cast in the Korean one. There's something creepy about him. There's this overbearing confidence in himself. And
there's a hint of sadness, though, really.
Yes, there really is. And the fact that he's clearly visibly younger than the lead.
Yes.
Right? And they don't feel any need to explain it.
Nope.
It's just...
No. Yeah, they're supposed to be childhood friends and the same age, but maybe I think part of what it is or similar age.
No, I don't think they're friends. I think he
Not
actually is slightly younger.
Yeah, but not that much younger.
I think his sister was the same age as the protagonist.
Right. Yeah,
but they were school
in the same school, the same Catholic school.
There's only a few, not enough years to be significant.
Yeah, he shouldn't look that young, but he's wealthy and taken care of.
Here's a guy who's been in a hotel and given crap food, and
he's going to age.
And the stress of that. Here's this other guy who's, been taking care of himself physically and everything else. Granted, I guess he's probably stressed too with this is all he's been doing for the last 15 years is fucking with this guy and putting all these chess pieces in place to make a certain thing happen.
I know, and it's an interesting concept where he is the manipulator and he is doing this, but you're like, well, this is as much of a prison as anything, as this is your obsession is your prison.
Yeah.
He just gets to do it outside.
Now it's Chan-wook Park in the remake as Adrian or / the Stranger. Honestly, I can't remember. What was this dude's name in the...
Jinwoo? Woo Jin?
Okay, Juhan, right?
Juhan, yes.
Yeah, and that was Daehan Ji who played that. And
he's good.
I'm going to have to look up some of
He's
his
real
other stuff.
good.
He's a really great actor.
He's just
and so is Chan-wook Park. I just didn't like his choices.
Yeah, I didn't know why he had to be so
Schmarmy?
Obsessively fey.
Yeah.
I didn't get why.
Well, I kind of do when you get into the reveal about his motivations to a certain extent.
See, but I don't think that's really true, because when you're thinking that that's the explanation, you're buying into a particular stereotype.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought there was a stereotype that was being played.
I mean, you could do it and not have those stereotypes. It could still play.
For a guy who directed Malcolm X, you figure he would get away from that. But
yeah.
I don't know. Well, just because you have you're a bright eye on certain things doesn't mean you have a bright eye on other things.
No, I suppose not. But yeah, it felt
you can be equal rights and homophobic. It felt
very stereotyped to me as well. I don't know. It didn't work for me. Chan-wook Park, as much as I like him in a lot of things, this was not one of them.
No, I don't. I agree. He was not anywhere near as powerful or as convincing as the villain, as
I didn't
the original
nearly, even though he was, I didn't get the sense that he was nearly as in control as this other guy was.
I'm wondering if it was so more, now that I'm thinking about it, that whole Faye character was should be like a contrast to Josh Brolin's more aggressive character. To have him be bettered by somebody so Faye.
I can see maybe that, yeah.
It still doesn't work. But
if that was the intent, it didn't work.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I'm saying. It might be a bad choice.
Yeah.
To do it that way.
But I do see your point, and I can see that's something that Spike Lee would think about for sure.
Yeah, and they give a different side character. He's got that personal bodyguard character that they have in both films. It's Mr. Han in the original, and it's some chick that I don't think she even has a name in the remake.
Well, yeah, she does. I don't know why, because they don't think they ever use it.
I don't think I've heard them say it.
No, she hasn't even got a line, but it's...
she does by the football players.
The character's name is Hang Bok, and that's Palm Clementiev. I don't know. I'm having an easier time with the Asian names today.
I know. There you go.
Probably because I watch a lot more Asian film than out of all the foreign stuff I watch.
Yeah,
it's the Asian stuff I watch a lot of.
So her name was Hang Bok.
Yeah, Hang Back.
Yes. Yeah, bodyguard hanging back. I get it. Yeah.
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 But yeah, so then you have like the whole thing. Like in the remake, this is sort of the reveal of what he has to do to get to where he needs to go. And I think in the original, it's just he's told over the phone what he has to find out. He's not.
Oh, they keep giving the clue evergreen in like several times throughout the movie. They give that clue evergreen.
Yeah, but I don't think he gets to confront the character. Like in the remake, he gets to see who he's against. He doesn't know his name or why it's happening, but he gets to see him in the remake.
He shows up in the bar and talks to him, and
yeah, but in the original, he doesn't really see him until that part in the car, and then he just kind of finds out. He doesn't get to confront him or find out why he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Well, now in the original too, he finds that there's a kind of a link between his captor and this girl that's being all crazy around him.
Yeah.
Well, and this leads into the scene where she gets captured in both movies, right? In the original, they're both in her apartment, and then he realizes they're being watched from an apartment across the way.
Yes.
And he goes, and there's a phone there, and that's where he starts getting where he gets clues, right? In the remake, I don't remember how he gets.
Well, yeah, no, like he finds out that there's something on the other side. He meets the guy, but at that point, when he sees over the thing, he's already had her tied to the bed because he thinks she's the one who's selling him out. He doesn't know about the place across the street until like the phone rings.
That's right, yeah.
So that's about it. So she's he ties in the original, he ties her up, and that's really when she's in danger. Whereas in the remake, she's in danger just because they know where to find him. The guy's already given the address.
I do like how that phone rang every time he kind of goes off script.
Yes.
And it goes away from his plan. Like, okay, we need to protect her, so let's keep this from happening. And they have something similar. It works a little differently in the other film, but similar things happen because, we got to keep her from certain things that happening. When he's being manipulated by him, there's a scene where he has to go rescue her.
Yes.
It's just across the street, actually.
From the hotel guys. It's always from the hotel guys.
Yeah. And the hotel guys are out for a little bit of vengeance, the ones left alive. So it's Sam Jackson and his crew, and I don't even remember. I don't know who
They have more guys in the other one, but yeah, like you say, they're beat up, and it's like the main guy from the room with his teeth all made up.
Yeah, they've just kind of got her tied up, and they're groping her a bit. And I mean, let's face it, both of them are going to have a little fun with her before they dispatch.
Yeah, sexual assault. That's what they do.
Yeah, both of them are gonna rape this girl, which is not what the manipulator wants.
No.
Because, he doesn't want anybody dying, because then he loses his end game.
Yeah, but...
And he just phones them up, and they're like, there's no amount of money. Oh,
but
yes, there is.
But when you're talking about you don't want certain people hurt, this does bring up a certain point. Whereas in both movies, the manipulator is perfectly fine with just killing his wife. She hasn't done anything. She's not even involved.
No, she was a tool.
She's not. She's just a thing to be disposed of.
She's a device because they're setting her to set him up for the murder.
Yeah,
true.
He does not give a shit about people in general.
Yeah.
That's not really a factor. In fact, his
every person is a way to get to his revenge.
His buddy in both movies, Chucky and whatever his name is in the Korean one,
both die. At the hands of the manipulator.
At the hands of the manipulator, strictly for calling her a slut.
Yes.
His sister a
whore.
Slut.
Specifically a whore in both movies.
Yeah, saying his sister's a whore. Otherwise, he probably would have left him alone.
Oh, yeah, because then this gets to the key of why everything was put into motion.
Yeah.
Yes, and it does. That's the reveal as to what his motivation starts to reveal what his motivation is. But yeah, like he doesn't do anything at all without intent, without a purpose, right? There was a purpose to the murder of the lead character's wife, right? It was sick and twisted, but there was still.
He's not above disposing of people. Yeah. That poor wife, just married to the wrong dude. Yeah. Totally. But then you get to like the key place where everything happens is the school.
Yeah.
They both figure out that the school is the key.
Yeah, this kind of closed prep school.
Yeah, and it's a classmate or somebody who goes to that school in both instances.
Yeah, they're both really interesting looking schools.
Yeah. The one in Korea is like this Catholic private school.
Yeah.
I don't know if the other one is Catholic, but it's a prep school.
Yeah, they're both Well, the Korean one looks very old and grand, and the other one looks a little more modern. And
yeah, the one in Korea almost looked like it was an old convent or something like that, with all these exterior stairs and courtyards and
yeah,
and the shot with the
atrium. Yeah. The big atrium where shit goes down.
Yep. And then you get to the whole point where, like, once he gets to that school, he figures out by retracing his steps
and that's
what he saw.
Yeah, flashbacks, which I really like how it's kind of handled, walking through his memories.
Yes.
Yeah, they do it both slightly differently, but there's always the sight of his younger self in both, which I did enjoy. I thought that was a good.
Yeah, and I'm glad Spike Lee didn't change that too much. Like, it's so effective,
and especially considering it showed what kind of person he was right even back then. That he wasn't really a very nice person even that far back.
No,
he's teasing his classmates, and he's not a nice person.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He's a dick for sure.
And they establish
and he's a dick to these people.
Yeah, and they establish Josh Brolin's character as an alcoholic even then, right? He's always sneaking out to find a drink, right? He's got these little stashes of booze all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind that so much as a key. I felt the alcoholism itself was a crutch for sympathy, and I don't
that became
think that's
too
wrong.
much.
Yeah,
when they established it so early on, I'm like, Jesus.
But now we get to the key of what he saw,
and this is where it starts to differ quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, in the Korean one, he spies outside of a window the manipulator guy, whose name I can't remember, the Korean name, and
Jin-woo?
Junhan. And he spies him out from the window of the atrium, and he's getting all up in his sister, who's initially rejecting the advances.
Yeah.
But kind of gives into it.
But it feels more like a game at that point that they do.
It does feel a game. It's something that they've done before.
Yeah.
Now, the key thing that here is that
I think it's the case of timing of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't. She didn't feel like it was the right time to play this
like
game.
two motivators here that we kind of sort of glossed over is one is Daisu had been flirting with her. He was interested in her.
Yes.
Right. The other is he does not know that this is their brother and sister.
Yeah, no.
At no point does he realize that they are brother and sister.
Right.
He just sees this girl that he's interested in.
Oh, yeah, being with this guy.
And then he gossips to his friend and says, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Who tells everybody.
Yeah, his friends. He's like,
and then, people make connections awfully quickly. That's her brother.
And like all rumors start, like I think part of the rumors was like she was just a slut.
Yeah.
Like she might have had sex with one person, but as you know, rumors get out of hand. Well, then she was fucking everything that walked.
Yeah,
which is what his friend says in the internet cafe, which is what gets him killed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's a whore. She would sleep with anybody. I should have gotten in there, and that's what gets him killed.
Yeah, because he was part of the rumor mill.
Yeah. Well, he's the beginning of the rumor mill.
Yeah.
He is the mill.
Yeah, and actually, the revenge really should have been on his friend, not on Daisu.
Ooh, do you think that's why the windmill was in the room?
I think we're stretching.
We're stretching.
I think so.
But I did like his death really, really well. Like the guy loses it. Like he takes out a CD, cracks it in half, and stabs him in the neck with it.
It is vicious and sudden. Like he was keeping tabs on what they were doing by getting close, but I don't think he ever had set his mind to kill off his friend as any kind of motivation.
No, he didn't, but his friend had gotten rid of the tracking device.
Right.
He in his clothes, which he was found in that suitcase, smart enough to get him tracked. Like, brilliant idea. I like that. And I don't think they didn't really have that in the remake, did they?
Not really, no.
I don't.
Because they always knew where he was.
They knew where he was. I'm wondering if it was just the phone. They just decided it was the phone in the new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's and in the original movie, the manipulator says your friend had died because
you said that.
Because you said that, and because you removed the tracker, so I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
If you hadn't removed the tracker.
So he's like, this is another thing that's on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. He's laying blame everywhere he can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he's definitely trying to debase him every chance he can get.
Yeah.
And wants him to realize what made this path happen.
Yeah.
And it's not just a case of torturing this guy, it's to make him do what he did and understand it.
Yes.
Yeah. And to go back to the motivation, because there's more to it, right? Is these rumors ultimately lead to his sister's death?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Where she
commits suicide.
They kind of leave that up in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, it suggests very strongly that it is suicide, but there's also that scene where he's holding her hand and he's trying to rescue her, and she says, "Let me go. I don't want you to come with me."
But if you look at it, and I watched this, I rewound it a couple of times. She kicks him with her foot.
Does she?
To dislodge herself.
Yeah, she was committed to her act, which kind of rolls back to the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Which I really quite appreciated the dichotomy of that. Like, that was really neat.
Yeah. So ultimately, Daisu is being blamed for this young woman's death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. The remake is another story entirely.
Ah, yes. So you get to the remake, and what we say, there's a girl again.
That he's interested in and that he flirts with.
Yep, and then he's out having some of his hooch that he's hidden around by like this greenhouse or conservatory, and he sees her with somebody.
With an older man.
Yeah, an older man in there.
This guy is there. Every reason talks is, I get the feeling it's like a fundraiser for the school or whatever.
Okay.
Like I think it's some kind of event like that. It's not very well explained, but I get the feeling he's heavily donated to this school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're wealthy.
They're wealthy. And this somebody is her father.
Yes.
Also Adrian, the stranger's father.
In both instances, the sister is the one who dies.
Yeah, so we still have incest, but
true, but
now,
she dies.
Now it's with her dad.
Yeah, not him.
Yeah,
no, which leads into the very disturbing.
Yeah, then this gets real.
Yeah, rumors happen and everything else, but this is a powerful, rich family.
So they just go to Luxembourg.
Yeah,
yes.
They move in the whole bit, but it, this travels with them. This is attached to them now, and Dad can't live with this shame, and does the whole murder-suicide thing. Thing is, we don't really know until that moment that the son's also having that incestuous relationship with the father,
and does get shot. He's got scars all the way through. They show the scars in the movie, and this is where they explain them.
Yeah.
Is he's the only survivor from that? Double murder-suicide.
Yeah.
Which should have been a triple murder-suicide.
He goes into the daughter's room. She starts undoing her blouse thinking this is Dad's come to visit. And she gets shot in the head. And
no, it's a gut shot.
It's a gut shot. Whatever.
It's a shotgun. It doesn't really matter.
It's messy. It's so messy.
Mother comes down the stairs.
She gets wasted there. And then he goes into the son's
conservatory.
Yeah, and he gets it closer to the shoulder. That's how he survives.
Neck, right?
And then he blows his own head off. And you see it.
There's not much of that head left.
No, that was well done. I mean, it's not like this movie needs a lot of CGI, but that's really good. It's well used in that moment.
Yeah, and this is the only time where you realize that he's actually having sex with his son as well.
Yeah, because
he says, "Oh, father," and he starts to undo his pants.
Yeah,
right.
And that's where
he's excited.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" Like,
so they had an interesting relationship, and as he grows up, he still don't. It's a relationship he cherishes.
Yeah,
he still does not see anything wrong with that relationship.
He was saying, like, me and my sister had a very close relationship with our father. He loved us, and you took that from me, is what he believes.
Yeah, and he's broken just as much as Daisu.
Yeah.
If anything, he's broken worse.
Yeah, he's
he's lost his whole family.
I actually never mentioned that Josh Brolin. We kept calling him Josh Brolin, but he's Joe Doucette instead of Odaisu.
Yeah,
but the similarities in the names is quite nice.
Just said Odaisu. But so the rumors in the original Korean one, like, she goes to kill herself, like, at the dam, and they say, like, she was alone. She wasn't alone.
So there's lots happening there, and then after he discovers this is where they in both cases where they become intimate, where Daisu and his daughter become intimate.
Yes,
who he doesn't know is his daughter at this point.
No, yeah, and that's all been recorded by
of course
by them. So and the whole thing is to lead to this moment where he sleeps with his daughter, despite the fact he doesn't know it's his daughter.
Yes, so it's all come together, and
and then we get to near the end of the movie where they get up to his rooftop apartment, and
he goes to confront the guy because he's like, I've won. Because all of this, part of what the guy has to have him do is it's part of a game. He's like, you have to find out who I am and what you did to me. And that's
by this time.
Yeah.
If you do, I will provide proof that you didn't kill your wife, and that I will shoot myself in the head.
I don't know if he said that in the Korean one. He said
did,
he'd
yes.
kill himself, but I don't think he said he'd clear him.
He did say he'd clear him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd give him everything he needs.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, his daughter's dead.
Yeah. I mean, in the remake, they're holding somebody he thinks is his daughter, but it's not really a daughter. It's just an actress who's been filmed and used some makeup, and he's got this whole little film set on the next level
see,
of
I
his
didn't
apartment.
mind this reveal because this shows how far he's willing to go.
Yeah, and it's it's just as extreme and ludicrous as the hypnotism in a way. Having this, weird 80s film set and
longest running TV show with only one viewer.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, this is a one-man Truman Show here. This is for one guy's thing, and that's a lot of expense to go into. I mean, if this guy's watching this show, let's say once a week for 20 years, that's a lot of fake programming.
That is a lot of fake programming.
Yeah, I know, because it can't be every week is his story.
No, yeah. So he's got to make this show convincing, and then suddenly seed in his daughter, who's become this cellist, but it's just some talented actress. So he's got to seed that in along the way. These little stories. I'm like, Jesus, that's some long term. That's some Marvel.
I know, right?
Type of planning. Yeah. Like, okay, you need to sign a 17,000 picture deal.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah, it talks. Even the host. Okay, we've got a host. You have to do this show for 15 years. Host.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And he's all looking on his IMDb, and it's never showing up.
He doesn't know how to use the internet. It's fine.
That poor host. He's like, I thought my career would take off, but I have to do this stupid show for 15 years.
It's never on.
See, the host. He doesn't care about the host. He doesn't care about the wife. This guy's terrible.
It's a hobby, kind of like podcasting.
It is, and
yes,
it really. Yeah. Nicely done.
Thank you.
And this leads into, I guess, one of the other big differences is the final scene.
Yes.
The final confrontation in the apartment in the original has got to be one of the, again, more intense scenes I've ever seen in a film.
I loved it. The way it's shot, the way it plays out. Mm-hmm. Loved it.
I mean, the only action is with the bodyguard.
With Mr. Han.
Yeah.
And the differences between the two, which I have to say, is in the original, Mr. Han won't stop. So the manipulator has to kill him.
I got the feeling he was like a cyborg or something. He was insanely strong and just quick and martial arts.
No, I just figure he was just better trained than Odaisu. Odaisu's not a professional.
He was badass.
Yes, he was.
So he's there, but yeah, he won't stop because Odaisu's gotten a hit on him, so he's lost it. So the manipulator guy has decided to shoot him himself because he's like, I'm not done with this guy yet. Mm-hmm. I am no. But in the new one, Joe Giussette, Josh Brolin, he kills the bodyguard.
Boom, just straight up kills her.
Yeah,
there's not even any real conflict.
I would have preferred, I love that note where the guy's like, I'm not done with him yet. I will kill anybody.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
It worked so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And this was his right-hand guy, so this was how important that was for him.
Yes.
And then the big reveal comes on essentially immediately after the death of the bodyguards.
Yes.
Yeah, and he starts revealing the chunks and all of that. Now, how it ends is quite different.
But there's one bit, too, which I thought was really lovely, is what Odaisu accuses him of, well, you hypnotized me, so you made me forget all this. He's like, so you made me not remember any of this. He's like, I didn't do that. You just forgot.
Yeah. It wasn't even that important to you.
Yeah. He's like, I love how dark that is.
Yeah.
You just forgot this. We were so insignificant. You just fucking forgot.
Yeah, that's how little that mattered to you.
Because they weren't even on the list.
Yeah. 15 years of making lists and
notebook after notebook after notebook after notebook after notebook, nothing.
Yeah, and they weren't even on that list yet.
Yeah, and then they talk about the hysterical pregnancy his sister had because of all the rumors. Mm-hmm. And he's like going, no, not impregnated by your tongue, not my dick.
Yeah, well, that was interesting. I didn't know what to make of that.
It was genius.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a really, really intense little moment.
Yeah.
But it also gives you something about like why she would have tried to kill herself. She's like, okay, the game's up. Like,
yeah, and he really debases himself after this. Like, okay, he threatens to reveal what he's done to his daughter. He's actually on the phone. Oh, we totally forgot that he put his daughter/girl in protection in the same hotel he was kept captive.
He makes friends with the hotel.
Oh yeah, because we forgot. Like the guy takes his hand,
but he really didn't.
Yeah, the guy took his hand, and so they think that they're friends now because the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of deal. And like, well, U.S. policy, this guy believes it, and so he's not.
Daisu's kind of dumb.
And that's what the guy says at one point. He's like, how do you expect to protect your woman with that stupid brain of yours? You didn't even think that this was a thing. I gave him that hotel for his hand. The hand was his payment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And I actually missed that in the remake. I thought that was a really powerful statement about Daisu and the lengths that that the manipulator is willing to go through to
but and how safe he actually felt in that place, like to bring her there, that was interesting.
I still had trouble grasping that because it still seemed like a weird choice, but I guess it's that whole Stockholm syndrome thing. Maybe
and Spike Lee figures that out because Josh Brolin's character goes back. Like, it's. I think in a way that's a better ending than what we got in the Korean ending, where he debases himself so much, he pulls out his tongue and cuts it off. The symbolism of that is very powerful.
Yeah.
No, but she should never know. Like, I can't
he
say
just
anything.
goes insane.
He says, I'm your dog, I will do anything.
And he licks his shoes and...
Yeah.
So it's really, really emotional and intense for sure.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Incredibly upsetting.
Like, he's like, she can never know. Like, he will like, I will do literally anything.
Yeah. And then the weird scene with the chairs in the middle of a wintry forest in Korea.
That was to get the hypnotism angle at the end.
Yeah.
Because then we know how the end is.
They
hypnotize him to forget that that's his daughter.
But it didn't work.
Did it?
No, it didn't.
I remember it did. I was watching it this morning.
There's this weird split personality thing kind of happening, but there's that little cue at the end is that, at least in my mind, it doesn't take. He still remembers.
I didn't take it as that.
She doesn't know, but he does.
Because
he doesn't want to know.
The hypnotism about it is, she says, you're split into two people. One is the monster that knows everything that's happened, and one is you now, or is going to be Odaisu now.
Yeah.
Now, the monster is going to turn around and walk away, and after 70 steps, it's going to die.
Yeah.
So that means it's supposed to go away, which I thought that was the steps in the snow.
Yeah, but he had this kind of look and this tear in his face that it didn't take.
Oh, see, I assumed that it sort of did.
But I think that's what I like about it.
The ambiguity.
That. Yeah, I like that because it causes a debate, and I don't like things completely written out for you. So I like that kind of open ending. Did it work? Didn't it work? Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Like, what is his life now? He's cut his tongue out. What's he going to do?
But at the same time, it just reminds me of the ridiculousness of it all. I like that Josh Brolin's like, this has completely fucked my life. I can't be a part of my daughter's life like this, and she can never know, so I just need to go away, as this guy who she had a fling with for a week or something. Yeah. And he traps himself back in the hotel. He pays these people
to keep him
there for the rest of his life. And in the same conditions as well. Yeah,
we did forget to mention what happens to the antagonist in both movies.
Yes.
Is he follows through on his promise.
He does.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right? He
doesn't
exonerates our hero.
Yeah, he doesn't reveal the truth to the daughter.
He doesn't really. He gives them $20 million in diamonds, I think it was, in both films.
I thought it was just money in the second one.
No, it was diamonds.
Diamonds? Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of money.
Which I never understood that as payment. If you know like anything about diamond, like reselling those.
Yeah.
Unless you know who to sell them to.
One more kick in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, here's something that you're going to have trouble selling. Good luck with that. Fuck you. Like, I don't get that.
Yeah, with no provenance or certain. Like,
Oh, I'm
fluctuating
sorry, you don't know
market.
how to get rid of this? Oops.
you can make a bunch of nice rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow, your career as a jeweler.
I know. Well, it would be like, okay, if you do what I ask you to, I will give you this, $5 million painting. You have no idea how to get rid of it. It might be stolen. Good luck with that, Trish. That's not payment. That is another fuck you.
In a big way.
Yes.
Oh, so I can't give you a painting for payment of this podcast?
No.
Fuck. All right.
Yeah, and then, of course, he shoots himself in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, he carries that through both movies. Yeah.
What I always thought was funny, though, when I heard that,
happens.
if I'm that angry about it, and the guy's giving me the option, he's like, and then you get to watch me blow my own brains out, and you get to watch, I'd be sitting there going like, no, I want to do it. No deal. If you want to do this that badly, I get to kill you.
Yeah, and it's definitely more powerful in the Korean one.
Yeah, because they do a flashback where he sees,
Yeah.
like, he replays what happened with his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get the
it is
impression that he's really wanted to be dead all along.
Yeah, well, he has
Korean
had a
one?
pacemaker. They say,
Yeah.
like he's not 100% physically well.
Yeah, he does, and he tells Odaisu he's got this remote.
Yeah, that was a lie.
It was just for the tape recorder.
Yeah.
And see, when that stuff happens, I'm like going, this guy has done so much shit to you, and you're gonna believe him?
Yeah. I'm like, Jesus, all these little things. Okay, most of his promises were true, except for that one where it was just, here's a great way to get to the reveal that you just fucked your daughter.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but he says at the end, the line at the end of the Korean one is really good. It's like, me and my sister loved each other despite everything. Maybe you and your daughter can too. Insane.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the line that was in the Korean trailer that stands out and is a good one to close on: laugh and the world laughs with you, weep and you weep alone.
Yes.
And that played out really well in that film. So, and they hammer that one in a few times.
They use that line a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the painting in the room. It's in the how they give the reveal in the Korean one is a photo album showing her grow up until the final reveal is, this is the adult version of your daughter. Yay.
Yeah. Well, that's Oldboy, and man, that was a good one to do. Jeff didn't want to be in on that one, and during his absence, we'll cover a few that he just outright said no to.
But I have to say, like, I my preference is for the original Korean one, but this is one of those times the remake is pretty good.
I want to see an uncut release. I want to see a director's cut
I need
release.
more. Like, I don't like the motivation was basically what I didn't like, but overall, like, some of the changes they made weren't too bad.
I felt there was some
the villain
stuff
I'd change
happened really quickly. It wasn't as well established as it should be with Adrian.
I feel he shouldn't have been so fey. I think that could have been changed.
Like Josh Brolin has said publicly, like he prefers the director's cut. He was unhappy with the final cut.
Yeah, like I think if we watch that director's cut, that's gonna like open up a whole new bunch of stuff that we got confused about or didn't seems unfinished.
Yeah, I feel like there is a really good remake in there. Like I did enjoy the remake, but I felt some stuff would just happen too quickly. And motivations weren't as well defined as we went along, and the mouse trap game that was going on, manipulating him through the maze, just wasn't as well defined. I wanted the umbrella girl with the markings on it. He spots her a couple times and goes after her, but that doesn't play out to anything.
No.
So there's something else there, and I'm starting to think that maybe there was a hypnotism angle that just got erased.
Yeah, or more of an
editing room.
establishment as to, like, I mean, sure, she's looking after this guy, but like more of how she would want, like, that it makes more sense that she would be with this guy and help this guy and have this much invested.
Yeah. So I don't know. Okay, that's Oldboy, and if you guys like this, please share it with your friends. Tell 5, 10, 20. And tell that guy you just walked past on the street while you were listening to the podcast on your phone that this is awesome and they should subscribe to it as well. And of course, you can find us on everywhere: iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, all that stuff. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review or wherever you're listening to us. And, actually write a review. I mean, all that stuff helps us climb the charts, even just that 1/10 of a second putting in the stars. So leave us a rating. That really helps. If you see us post on social media, like it and share it with your friends as well. Retweet us, all that good stuff. We are at Invasion Remake on Twitter. We are Invasion of the Remake over on Facebook, and Invasion of the Remake at gmail.com if you want to write us. I don't know where we fucked up or recommendations.
Anything
or
you missed in Oldboy.
Yeah, anything we missed, or suggestions what we should cover next. We can always pick from that as well.
Or some really good movies with the main actor and
and
the
of
main
course,
manipulator and Oldboy.
and of course movies, maybe, because every other episode we also like to remake a film, and if you think there's something that deserves our remake treatment, we might talk about that on the show. So go check that out. Go find us on social media, like us, share us, and subscribe to us every week.
Yes.
All right, that's it. I'm Jason.
I'm Sam.
I'm Trish.
And we are out of here.